Amid the gritty backdrop of Glasgow's sprawling urban landscape, stories of crime, power, and violent vendettas are etched into the city's history. Yet one gruesome murder sent shockwaves through the heart of Scotland's criminal underworld. This is the haunting tale of the Gangland murder that not only shocked the Scottish underworld, but also exposed a treacherous world of rivalries, violence, and a web of intrigue that surrounded the life and death of Kevin Carroll. The roots of this story take us back to a time when a young Kevin Carroll, who would later become a symbol of fear, first crossed paths with the formidable Lyons clan. The animosity between Carroll and Lyons had its origins on the school playground, and a feud that would persist throughout this life of his and set the stage for the dark chapters that unfolded. Born at Glasgow's Staub Hill Hospital on August 24, 1980, Kevin Carroll's early life was marked by adversity. Raised with his brother David in the harsh environs of the Milton State, Carroll's childhood experiences would significantly influence his destiny. It was during these formative years that the moniker the Gerbil came to define his identity, and named after a character from the television puppet series Roland Rat. By the time he was in his teens, Carroll was already on the law enforcement radar. At the age of 19, he found himself behind bars for 3 months, serving time for car theft. However, as he transitioned into his mid-20s, his focus shifted to a much more lucrative but sinister trade. Carroll began supplying drugs and inflicting extreme violence on those who crossed his path. He soon became a major headache for the police and even for the elite Scottish Crime and Drug Enforcement Agency. Amidst the ongoing battle for Glasgow's territories and power, Carroll emerged as the most unpredictable element in the feud between the Lyons and Daniel crime families. Carroll's audacious actions heightened tensions in the criminal underworld. His brutal methods included the use of a blowtorch and boiling water to torture victims before robbing them of drugs, money, and weapons. These heinous acts garnered him and his associates the infamous moniker, the Alien Abduction Gang. Victims, traumatized by their harrowing experiences, often recounted their ability, or should I say inability, to remember any specifics about the ordeal. The gruesome reign of terror involved the gang posing as armed police, abducting victims at gunpoint from their homes, and hooding them before transporting them to safe houses or abandoned buildings. Within these sinister settings, the victims endured horrific physical and psychological torture, with power tools being employed in some of the attacks. In one particularly shocking incident, Carroll and his gang stole 4 kilos of cocaine, valued at up to €50,000, without resorting to violence. The brutal conflict between the Lyons and the Daniel families unfolded over the years, leaving an indelible mark on Glasgow's landscape. It is a saga that has received extensive media coverage over time, demonstrating the intense and unforgiving nature of this fight to the death. The sheer volume of clashes and conflicts between these two crime families would require an hour-long episode to recount in full. One pivotal incident transpired in early December 2006 in Lamhill at Apple Row Motors. This business was owned by David Lyons, the brother of the Lyons clan's head, Eddie Sr. The events that unfolded that day resembled a scene straight out of a gangster movie, except it was all too real. Two figures, shrouded in long black coats and donning masks, entered the forecourt armed with handguns. In a matter of minutes, the attack had concluded, leaving a trail of destruction. Michael Lyons, a 21-year-old nephew of the Lyons, lay lifeless on the ground. His cousin Stephen had sustained severe injuries, as had Robert Pickett, an associate of the Lyons gang. The two assailants at Apple Row were members of the Daniel gang, identified as Raymond Anderson and James McDonald. They were swiftly apprehended and subsequently sentenced to a record 35 years in prison. These legal actions signified a shift in Scotland's courts towards greater severity against organized crime, surpassing even the sentences meted out of figures like Abdul Basit al-Maghrai, the orchestrator of the Lockerbie bombing. However, the sparks that ignited his carnage could be traced back to a drive-by shooting in Bishop Briggs. A few weeks prior, it was an attempt on Kevin Carroll's life, the second in his tumultuous journey. In a macabre twist, the Lyons believed Carroll had desecrated the grave of Gary Lyons, a member of the rival gang. On January 12, 2010, at precisely 1:25 p.m., in a car park of the Asda Superstore in Rob Royston, Glasgow, the most gruesome chapter of the story unfolded. Kevin Carroll, the most feared figure in the Glasgow underworld, sat unsuspectingly in a black Audi A3. Unbeknownst to him, he had been summoned for an ostensibly mundane business meeting, a scenario all too familiar for those immersed in the clandestine world of crime. What transpired in the following moments left an indelible mark on the memories of those who witnessed it. Two masked figures approached the Audi, relentlessly opening fire. Carol, trapped by child locks activated in the back seat, stood no chance. 13 shots in just 25 seconds ended his life instantaneously. It was not merely an act of violence, it was an execution, executed with chilling precision that sent shockwaves through the Asta car park. In the aftermath of Carol's murder, the investigation proved to be a perplexing puzzle for the Scottish police. The absence of substantial physical evidence initially frustrated their efforts. However, DNA test results uncovered a potential lead. Ross Monahan, a senior member of the Lions gang, emerged as a primary suspect, a convicted cocaine dealer and notorious figure in the underworld. Monahan's life was about to take a sinister turn. Monahan faced trial for Carol's murder in May of 2012, but the case against him ultimately collapsed, leaving questions unanswered. The murder weapons, a pistol, and a revolver were discovered by gardeners behind a library in Coatbridge. Although Monahan's DNA was found on the pistol, the minuscule quantity raised doubts about its significance. The dearth of definitive evidence left the investigation hanging in the balance until another suspect came to light. Billy Puff Patterson, another member of the Lions gang, was arrested in 2015. The case against him was built on DNA and phone record evidence. It was revealed that Patterson had left the country shortly after the murder, and his phone usage provided crucial insights into his movements on that fateful day. The evidence against Patterson was compelling, and he was found guilty, receiving a minimum sentence of 22 years behind bars. The Gangland murder of Kevin Carroll was a chilling chapter in the annals of the Scottish underworld. It not only exposed the ruthless feuds between rival crime families, but also underscored the challenges law enforcement faced in bringing criminals to justice. Carroll's legacy continues to cast a long shadow over Glasgow, serving as a stark reminder of the sinister forces that can hold in the realm of organized crime. While Patterson's conviction seemed to offer closure, the enigmatic world of crime often conceals more than it reveals. The story of Kevin Carroll's murder stands as a haunting testament to the enduring mysteries of the Scottish underworld, a realm where justice, vengeance, and treacherous alliances continue to intertwine, keeping the authorities on their toes and the public on edge. Unsurprisingly, the investigation into the murder of Kevin Carroll left behind numerous unanswered questions. While some perpetrators were brought to justice, it remains unclear whether others involved in this deadly plot continue to roam the streets. The Gangland murder of Kevin Carroll left an indelible mark on the annals of Scottish crime history. It was not merely an isolated act of violence, but a chapter in a much larger story of feuds, alliances, and betrayals within the criminal underworld. Carroll's death symbolizes the complex and multifaceted nature of organized crime, and the challenges faced by law enforcement agencies seeking to maintain order in the face of relentless violence. As we reflect on this chilling tale, we are left with the realization that the echoes of Kevin Carroll's murder continues to resonate in the Scottish underworld. It serves as a haunting reminder that the world of crime is far from straightforward, with justice often remaining tantalizingly out of reach. The Gangland murder that stunned the Scottish underworld remains an enduring mystery, a testament to the enigmatic and shadowy world where Kevin Carroll met his gruesome fate.